Today, we're all moving forward in the 21st century. The century well known for its growth and development in modernization and technology. The progress around the world is going on a very extremely fast pace, and every nation is racing towards sustainable development goals. In here, I would have the pleasure to focus the light on my precious country, Bahrain. In Bahrain, we are lucky to be led by a wise leader, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the king of the country, who had laid the reform project for the uprise of the country. His Majesty had always welcomed pioneered ideas that shall develop the Kingdom of Bahrain on the long term. This kingdom comprises more than 30 islands in the Arabian Gulf, and it has been at the center of major trade routes since antiquity. Whereas, back in 2018, the total population has reached up to 1.5 million people. And my research today is dedicated to His Majesty, King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the king of the country. My vision for this research was for a very long time, and I hoped that I will get the support, the full support in fact, from the wise leadership in the Kingdom of Bahrain, because in here I'm just discussing part of my research, but my aim is to complete the entire research and to get it executed. So my research topic is about peaceful nuclear energy that will serve the nation's needs in various fields. First, let me talk about the uses of nuclear technology and how it started. So the first power station to produce electricity by using heat from the splitting of uranium atoms began operating back in the 1950s. But today, most people are aware of the important contributions nuclear energy makes in providing a significant proportion of clean electricity. The application of nuclear technology outside, we can say, the civil electricity production and power plants are very less well known. So even the radioisotopes, the nuclear power process heat, and non-stationary power reactors, they all have essential uses across multiple sectors, we can say, including the consumer products, food and agriculture, industry, medicine, scientific research, transport, and the water resources, and even the environment. So yes, many countries around the world have started using the nuclear technology. For example, nuclear power, it is considered to be one of the major sources of energy in France, and it has almost 40% share of energy consumption in 2015. So the nuclear power, it is considered to be like the largest source of electricity in the country, with a generation of almost, we can say, 379.1 TWh, which is, maybe we can consider it as 71.6% of the country's total production, which is like almost 519.4 TWh. Yes, it is the highest percentage in the world. Now let's focus on the developed countries who had used and benefited from nuclear energy. First is Électricité de France, EDF, the country's main electricity generation and distribution company. It manages almost the country's 58 power reactors. EDF is substantially owned by the French government, with around almost 85% shares in government hands. And yes, France government exports 38 TWh of electricity to its neighbors, with very inclement weather when demand exceeds supply. France infrequently becomes a net importer of electricity in these rare cases because of the lack of more flexible generating plants. Now let's move on to India, which is considered to be a developing country, and it has also signed the first commercial agreement for reactors fuel supply. So the Indian report from New Delhi states, ending India's nuclear trade isolation and marking a new chapter in strategic relationship with France, India has signed its first one-of-a-kind commercial nuclear pact with the French nuclear giant Areva. This will help build nuclear power plants and get supplies of nuclear fuel. So Areva, or we can say the giant Areva company, will supply 2 European pressurized reactors. They are most probably called EPRS, and they will supply like 1,650 MWE, each for the plant to be built at Jaitapur in Maharashtra. And the cost of an EPR is like estimated at between almost $5.2 billion and maybe 7.8 billion. So the final costs are subject to negotiation between the French company Areva and the Indian government. So why not in Bahrain? We are also able to bring this idea and make the country flourish under the reign of Your Majesty. Bahrain total area is 765.3 kilometers square, and it has like a fertile land and a territorial sea area that can be utilized for, doing the peaceful nuclear energy testings, whereas we can also calibrate with the environmental authorities to make sure that the testings are environmentally safe and ready maybe to be executed. So yes, for the next 60 years, Bahrain will benefit from a beautiful basket of energy that will include gas, oil, and renewables like solar power, but nuclear power will be the backbone. The reactors can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for up to 80 months, producing around 25% of the country's electricity needs, whereas the rest of the energy can be exported to the neighborhood countries, and yes, it will benefit the region. So in doing so, we can create a safety net of energy security as the economy continues to grow at a double-digit rate. This basket of energies will make this nation successful for decades to come. The nuclear power will play a major role in that equation. The good thing about nuclear from a security point of view is that it is clean, safe, and reliable source of energy. A lot might consider the cons over the pros of this project, as in many cases and in several countries, the natural disasters and certain problems contributed to the mistakes made from the nuclear power station in the past years. Like, for example, I have read in Ukraine back in 1986, like there was a major release of radioactive material, and in Japan back in 2011 there was an explosion because of the earthquake and tsunami. So things have changed now, and with sustained technological developments, and such accidents happen very rarely, and it's not even to mention. And in Bahrain, we can avoid such events by seeking expertise from well-established companies that have been in this field for a very long time, like France, Germany, Ukraine, and other giant companies who have worked for the nuclear power stations. So for Bahrain to be superior in this field, it needs to establish an isolated ministry concerned with the peaceful nuclear energy. This ministry can work to support all the needs and requirements of the research and development matters, whereas we can also regenerate the nuclear energy to many countries in the region through building reactors and stations, which at the end will benefit the kingdom, and yes, it will most probably enlarge its economy. So from this arena, we would be glad to get the support from the world and the developed countries like the USA and Europe, as they are experts in this field. We want the world to look at Bahrain as a civilized country. This brilliant project will help the nations and people of this region. The Kingdom of Bahrain is economically, socially, and politically stable for having such an enormous project as compared to many countries in the region. So why not? Bahrain has stabilized its oil production at about 40,000 barrels, 6,400 meters square per day, and reserves are expected to last for almost like 10 to 15 years. So we can see in here that Bahrain reserve is decreasing, and we can depend on it for the upcoming future to compensate other resources. So yes, the nuclear energy stations built in Bahrain will help in bringing up our economy. They are built in a very technological manner that no bombs are required to complete the operation. We hope that this project will be further enhanced and strengthened, and whoever will be against the idea will most probably be against sustainable development in the country. So that will benefit the Kingdom of Bahrain as a whole. And at the end, I would state that bringing nuclear power to Bahrain is a great achievement we can all be proud of. Thank you.